The human ship arrived during the first light of the season. Commander Elias Rook stood on the observation deck, hands behind his back, watching the alien world turn slowly beneath the stars. The planet was called Varinal, a world of wide silver plains, tall crystal plants, and slow-moving clouds that glowed faintly at night. To its people, this time of year was sacred. They called it the season of binding. Elias did not believe in such things. He was a human officer sent by the Terran Alliance, chosen not for faith or emotion, but for calm thinking and patience. His mission was simple on paper: observe, learn, and report. Humanity was new to the Galactic Compact, and Varinal was one of the oldest member worlds. Understanding their customs mattered. The Varinal people looked almost human at a distance, but closer study showed the differences. Their skin carried soft patterns that shifted with emotion. Their eyes reflected light like polished stone. And most of all, they believed the universe itself could choose bonds between people. Elias had read the files. He knew the risks. Still, he did not expect what happened on his first night. The ceremony took place in an open stone circle under the sky. Tall lights grew from the ground like living torches. Alien officials stood in rows, silent and serious. Elias remained at the edge with his escort, hands relaxed, expression neutral. He was only there to watch. A sudden movement rippled through the crowd. An alien woman stepped forward from the inner circle. Her clothing marked her as high-ranked, silver bands, deep blue fabric, symbols of leadership. Her skin patterns glowed faintly, shifting fast. She stopped directly in front of Elias. The entire circle went silent. She raised her voice, calm but clear. "The season has spoken." Elias felt every eye turn toward him. She pointed at his chest. "This one is bound to me." Shock spread like fire. Elias blinked once. "I'm sorry," he said carefully. "There must be a mistake." The woman did not move. "There is no mistake. The signs are clear." Murmurs filled the air. Some sounded angry, others sounded afraid. Elias stepped back half a pace. "With respect, I am human. We are not part of your biological systems. We do not bond like this." Her eyes never left him. "That is what makes this rare." Within minutes, guards surrounded them, not with weapons raised but with rigid formality. Elias was escorted away, his escort officers arguing loudly. The ceremony ended in chaos. Later that night, Elias sat alone in a quiet chamber provided by the Varinal Council. The walls glowed softly, reacting to his breathing. A translator device rested on the table beside him. He replayed the moment in his mind again and again. Fate, season, binding. He did not believe in any of it. The door opened without sound. The alien woman entered. She stopped several steps away, hands open to show peace. "I am Lurie of the Dawn Council," she said. "You may call me Lurie." Elias stood. "Commander Elias Rook, Terran Alliance." She studied him closely as if memorizing details. "You are calmer than expected." "I don't panic over misunderstandings," he replied. "And this is a misunderstanding." Her skin patterns dimmed slightly, a sign of disappointment. "You deny the season." "I deny that a cosmic event can choose my life for me," Elias said. "Humans choose for themselves." Lurie tilted her head. "Then you are more dangerous than I thought." Elias frowned. "Dangerous?" "The season does not bind the weak," she said. "It tests, it observes, it waits." Elias crossed his arms. "And what happens if the test fails?" Her eyes darkened. "Then the bond harms both." That got his attention. Lurie explained calmly. During the season of binding, certain individuals became connected. Ignoring or breaking that bond caused mental collapse, physical illness, or worse. It was rare, it was feared, and it had never in recorded history involved a human. Elias listened without interrupting. When she finished, he spoke softly. "Then your system is flawed." Lurie stiffened. "Our traditions are older than your species." "Then they need updating," Elias said. "Because humans don't get chosen by fate, we adapt." She stared at him for a long moment. Then, unexpectedly, she smiled. That, she said, is exactly why the season chose you. The council decision came the next morning. The bond would be tested. Elias protested. His superiors protested harder, but the Varinal Council held firm. The season of binding had begun. To interfere was considered an act of cultural violence. The test would last the length of the season, 12 days. During that time, Elias and Lurie were required to remain within close range of each other. They would face challenges designed to reveal truth, weakness, and intent. Elias felt trapped, but he did not feel afraid. The first test came sooner than expected. They were taken to the Silver Plains at dawn. The ground reflected the sky, making it hard to judge distance. The air carried a low hum, natural energy flowing beneath the surface. This land responds to emotion, Lurie explained. Fear causes instability. Then it's a good thing humans are stubborn, Elias said. They were instructed to cross the plain on foot. No vehicles, no assistance. Within minutes the ground shifted beneath them, not violently but enough to throw off balance. Lurie stumbled once. Elias caught her arm without thinking. The ground steadied. Lurie looked at him, surprised. You did not hesitate. I saw someone about to fall, Elias said. That's all, they continued. As the hours passed, the terrain grew more difficult. Illusions appeared, memories drawn from fear. Elias saw flashes of past battles, lost comrades, burning ships. His jaw tightened, but he kept walking. Lurie struggled more. Her skin patterns flared, pain visible in her posture. Breathe, Elias said quietly, slow and steady. Focus on your feet, not your thoughts. She obeyed, confused but trusting. The illusions faded. By nightfall, they reached the end of the plain. Observers whispered among themselves. The test had been completed faster than expected. That night, Lurie sat across from Elias by a low fire. You resist the land, she said. I don't resist, he replied. I accept reality, then act within it. She studied him again, more carefully this time. Perhaps fate does not bind you, she said slowly. Perhaps you bind fate. Elias did not answer. He stared into the fire, wondering how a simple observation mission had turned into something much larger. Above them, the stars of Varinal shifted color. The season had begun. And whether he believed in it or not, it was watching him. The second day of the season began with silence. Elias noticed it the moment he woke. The city of Varinal was usually filled with soft sounds, distant voices, energy flowing through the structures, the hum of living stone. Now everything felt muted, as if the planet itself was holding its breath. Lurie was already awake, standing near the wide window of their shared observation chamber. Her skin patterns were slow and pale, a sign of deep thought. The season grows stronger each day, she said without turning. It is reacting to you. Elias rubbed his eyes and stood. Or your people are watching me harder. She turned to face him. You still think this is politics? I think everything becomes politics once power is involved, he replied calmly. She did not argue. Instead, she gestured toward the door. The next test awaits. They were escorted deep beneath the city, far below the crystal towers and open skies. The air grew cooler. The walls became rough stone instead of living crystal. This place is old, Elias said. Yes, Lurie replied. It existed before our cities, before councils, before written memory. They entered a vast chamber lit by a single vertical beam of light. At the center stood a circular platform. Around it, council observers waited in silence. The trial of truth, announced an elder. The bond will be measured not by strength but by intent. Elias stepped forward. Measured how? You will be separated, the elder said. But still connected. Before Elias could respond, the light flared. The world vanished. He stood alone in a narrow corridor made of dark metal. Red warning lights blinked slowly. He recognized the place instantly. A human warship. His warship. The smell of smoke filled the air. Alarms echoed. He could hear distant screams. This was not memory. It was too real. He moved forward, boots striking metal. Around a corner, he saw his younger self shouting orders, trying to evacuate civilians during a failed rescue mission. He remembered this moment. He remembered the choices. In the vision, he saw the moment again when he chose to seal a corridor to save the ship, knowing people were still behind it. His jaw tightened. A voice echoed through the corridor, Lurie's voice. "Why did you leave them?" Elias stopped. "I didn't leave them," he said aloud. "I made a choice." The corridor shook. Fire spread along the walls. "You chose efficiency," the voice said, "over lives." "I chose survival," Elias replied. "Without the ship, everyone would have died." The image flickered. His younger self looked at him, eyes full of doubt. Elias stepped forward and faced the vision. "I carry their memory," he said. "I honor them by living and protecting others. Guilt does not help the dead." The corridor dissolved. At the same time, Lurie was experiencing her own trial. She stood in a bright hall filled with symbols of honor. Before her were members of the Dawn Council, including her former mentor. Their eyes were cold. "You broke tradition," the mentor said. "You bound yourself to an outsider." "I followed the season," Lurie replied. "You followed curiosity," another counselor said. "You endangered our world." Images surrounded her, visions of Varinal collapsing, of the season turning violent, of her people blaming her. Fear tightened her chest. Then Elias' voice reached her. "Fear is not truth," he said calmly. She looked around, surprised. "You can hear me." "I don't know how," he replied, "but yes." The visions pressed closer. "They say I am wrong," Lurie said, "that I risk everything." "Are they right?" Elias asked. She hesitated, then she straightened. "No, I chose to speak. I chose honesty. That is not wrong." The council images cracked and faded. The chamber returned. Elias and Lurie stood on the platform again, breathing hard. The observers were silent, stunned. "The trial of truth is complete," the elder announced slowly. "The bond remains stable." Whispers spread through the chamber. Outside, the reaction was not as calm. News of the humans surviving 2 trials spread quickly through Varinal society. Some praised the season, others feared it, and not everyone believed the bond should continue. That night, Elias noticed increased security around their quarters. Human command sent warnings. The Galactic Compact requested explanations. Pressure built from all sides. "You are becoming a symbol," Elias told Lurie quietly. "Symbols attract enemies." "Yes," she replied, "but they also inspire change." The next test was not announced. It came without warning. They were traveling through a public transit hall when the energy field failed. Lights went out, panic spread. Elias reacted instantly. He moved Lurie behind him, scanning the shadows. This was not a natural failure. A group of masked figures emerged, carrying disruptor tools designed to interfere with biological energy. "Separate them," one of them ordered. Before guards could respond, the attackers activated the devices. The air vibrated painfully. Lurie gasped and collapsed to one knee. Elias felt something strange, pressure in his chest, heat in his blood. Not pain, but urgency. He knelt beside her. "Stay with me," he said firmly. The attackers hesitated. Human biology did not react like Varinal biology. The disruptors failed to affect Elias as expected. He stood, placing himself fully between Lurie and the attackers. "You picked the wrong species," he said calmly. Using simple tools from his belt, Elias disabled the closest device. He moved with controlled force, not rage. Each motion was precise. Security arrived moments later. The attackers fled. Lurie leaned against Elias, breathing hard. Her skin pattern slowly steadied. "You should have been affected," she whispered. "The bond should have weakened you." Elias shook his head. "Humans don't amplify energy the same way. We regulate it." She looked up at him, eyes wide with realization. "You are stabilizing the bond." Medical scans confirmed it later. Where Varinal bonds often intensified emotions to dangerous levels, the human nervous system acted as an anchor. The council was forced to acknowledge it. "The human presence is altering the season," the elder admitted. not by force but by balance. Opposition groups grew more desperate. On the eighth day, the planet itself reacted. Seismic activity increased. Energy storms formed across the silver plains. This had not happened in centuries. The season is reaching critical phase, scientists warned. If unresolved, it could destabilize the planet. Some council members called for immediate separation. It is too dangerous, they argued. End the bond. Lurie stood before them, voice steady. Ending it now would cause greater harm. All eyes turned to Elias. You are not of this world, a counselor said. Why should we trust your presence? Elias stepped forward slowly. Because humans don't rely on destiny, he said. We rely on responsibility. If something is breaking, we fix it. If it's dangerous, we adapt. He proposed a plan. Human technology combined with Varinal energy systems. A controlled release of seasonal energy, guided rather than suppressed. It was risky, but so was doing nothing. After long debate, the council agreed. As preparations began, Lurie stood beside Elias on a high platform overlooking the plains. You do not fear the season, she said softly. I respect it, Elias replied, but I don't let it decide who I am. She watched him quietly. Perhaps that is why it chose you. Elias did not answer. Below them, the planet pulsed with light. The final phase of the season approached. And the bond, once feared, now stood at the center of Varinal's survival. The final day of the season arrived under a sky filled with shifting light. Colors moved slowly across the clouds, silver turning to blue, then deep gold. The planet of Varinal felt alive in a way Elias had never experienced before. The ground pulsed gently beneath his feet, not violent but restless, like a heart beating too fast. Across the city, alarms rang in low tones, not warnings but signals of preparation. The season had reached its peak. Elias stood on the main control platform built at the edge of the Silver Plains. Around him, Varinal scientists and human engineers worked side by side. Transparent energy screens showed rising power levels beneath the planet's surface. The pressure is increasing, one scientist said. If we do not guide the release soon, the ground layers will fracture. Lurie stood next to Elias, her posture steady, though her skin patterns glowed brighter than ever. The bond was strong now. Elias could feel it not as a voice or force but as awareness. When she focused, he sensed it. When she steadied her breath, his own breathing slowed. He did not fight it, he understood it. This is where many before us failed, Lurie said quietly. They trusted the season to decide the ending. Elias nodded. Today, we help it finish safely. The plan was simple in concept, dangerous in execution. Instead of allowing the seasonal energy to erupt in uncontrolled waves, they would open controlled channels across the plains. Human stabilizers would regulate the flow, while Varinal conduits guided the energy back into the planet's core. If the timing was wrong, the energy could overload the systems. If the balance failed, the bond between Elias and Lurie could collapse violently. No one said it out loud, but everyone knew the risk. The signal was given. Energy surged across the plains like glowing rivers. The ground cracked open in thin lines of light. The sky darkened as clouds drew power from below. Elias moved to the central console. Begin stabilization sequence, he ordered calmly. Human systems activated, emitting low-frequency pulses designed to regulate chaos. Varinal structures responded, weaving the energy into controlled paths. At first, it worked. Then the bond reacted. Lurie gasped and gripped the railing. It's pulling, she said. The season is resisting control. Elias felt it too now, pressure behind his eyes, heat in his chest. Memories surfaced, Earth, human cities, quiet nights, stars beyond reach. He steadied himself. Look at me, he said firmly, turning to her. Breathe with me, she obeyed, focusing on his voice. The energy spiked again. Readings flashed red. We're losing balance, a human engineer shouted. Elias adjusted the frequency manually, ignoring automated warnings. This will push you beyond safe limits, the system warned. Override, Elias said. The energy flow slowed, but the bond intensified. Lurie cried out softly, dropping to one knee. Her skin patterns flared bright white. The council members watching from a distance panicked. Separate them, someone shouted, before the bond destroys them. Elias knelt beside her, placing a hand on her shoulder. No, he said quietly, this is the moment. He closed his eyes. Instead of resisting the bond, he accepted it fully, not as fate, not as control, but as connection. He focused on one simple human idea: choice. He chose to stand. He chose to protect. He chose to stay. The pressure eased. The energy around them shifted, no longer wild but flowing in rhythm with their breathing. Lurie looked up at him, eyes wide with understanding. "You're guiding it," she whispered. "I'm sharing the load," Elias replied. The stabilizers responded. Systems aligned. Energy levels began to fall into safe ranges. Across Varinal, the ground stopped shaking. The sky cleared slowly, colors settling into calm silver blue. The final release completed without collapse. Silence followed. Then cheers rose from the platform, spreading through the city. Scientists embraced. Engineers laughed in disbelief. The season was ending. Elias helped Lurie stand. She was exhausted but steady. "The bond," she said. "It feels different." Elias nodded. "It's not pushing anymore." Sensors confirmed it. The intense seasonal effects were fading, but the connection remained calm, stable, voluntary. The council gathered later that day. The elder spoke slowly, voice carrying across the chamber. "The season of binding has ended without destruction. This has never happened." Eyes turned to Elias. "You did not submit to fate," the elder continued. "You reshaped it." Elias shook his head. "We didn't reshape anything. We just refused to let fear decide for us." The elder considered this. "Perhaps that is the difference." The council's decision followed. The bond between Elias and Lurie would not be classified as a seasonal binding. It would be recognized as a chosen union, protected by law, free from obligation. More importantly, the season of binding itself would change. Future seasons would include guidance systems. Choice would be honored alongside tradition. Humanity's role in the galactic compact shifted overnight. No longer observers, they became problem solvers. Weeks later, as the human ship prepared to depart, Elias stood with Lurie at the edge of the landing platform. "You could stay," she said softly. "Varinal would welcome you." Elias looked at the horizon, at the calm plains glowing gently under a normal sky. "I will return," he said, "but not as someone bound by a season," she smiled. "As someone who chose." They stood together as the ship lifted into the sky. The season had ended, but across the galaxy a new understanding had begun. Humans were not bound by fate. They were the ones who taught the universe how to choose.